Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're tackling a really interesting design problem called Fancy Sequence. It involves some math tricks, so let's break it down step by step. The goal here is to build a custom data structure. We start with an empty list, and we need to support 4 operations. We can append a number to the end, add a specific value to every single item currently in the list, multiply every single item by a specific value, and finally, look up the value at a specific index. Oh, and because these numbers can get massive, we have to return our lookup answers modulo 10 to the 9th plus 7. If we just write a basic loop to go through our list every time we need to add or multiply, it's going to be way too slow. Updating 100,000 items one by one just takes too long. We need a clever way to apply these changes instantly without looping. Think about middle school algebra. Instead of updating every single number in our list, what if we just update a global rule? Any combination of adding and multiplying can be simplified to a single equation. A multiplier, which we'll call A, and an amount to add, which we'll call B. We just keep track of A and B globally. When we are told to add a value to everything, we just increase our global B variable. When told to multiply everything, we multiply both A and B by that amount. This is instant, but this introduces a new problem. If we append a new number to our list today, it shouldn't be affected by the additions and multiplications we did yesterday. This is the core puzzle of the problem. Our global A and B apply to the whole list. So if we drop a brand new number into the list, and then later try to calculate its true value using the global A and B, it will accidentally include all the math that happened before it was even born. We need a way to shield it from the past. To fix the timeline issue, we basically need to reverse the math. We need to divide out the old multiplier. But because we are working with modulo arithmetic, regular division doesn't work. We have to use a concept called a modular multiplicative inverse. Thanks to Fermat's little theorem, we can calculate this by raising our number to the power of our modulo minus 2. Don't worry about the deep proof here, just know it's our magical division tool. Just a quick heads up, we'll be walking through the solution using Python first, because it handles giant numbers really well. But don't worry if that's not your main language. I'll be showing the full code for Java, C++, and JavaScript towards the end of the video. If you just want to grab the code right now, you can find it on my website LeetCodeUnlocked.com, link is in the description. Okay, so for our first approach, we let the list keep the original numbers. But alongside the list, we also save a snapshot of what our global A and B variables were at the exact moment that number was added. Later, when we want to read that number, we take the current global A and B and use our inverse division trick to cancel out the snapshot A and B. This gives us exactly the math that happened in between. Alright, here is the Python code for the first approach. You can see we initialize our tracking arrays with 1s and 0s. We have our helper function to do the inverse math. The append, add, and multiply functions are super fast, just updating the very last item in our tracking arrays. Let's look closer at that getIndex function. When we ask for an item at a specific index, first we check if it even exists. If it does, we look at the most recent multiplier, and we effectively divide it by the multiplier from when the item was appended. That gives us a 0, the true multiplier for this specific item. We do a similar subtraction to find B0, the true amount added. Finally, we apply these clean, isolated values to our original number. If you want to test this code out yourself without retyping it, you can go to the LeetCodeUnlocked.com link in the description, so you can copy the code that is shown and explained in this video. Now getting back to the explanation. Code can be hard to visualize just by looking at it, so let's run a simple example through it. We start fresh. We append a 2, so our snapshots record an A of 1 and B of 0. Then we add 3, so our latest B becomes 3. Then we multiply by 2, so our latest A becomes 2, and B becomes 6. Now, we check index 0. Our math calculates the difference between the current state and the snapshot state. It figures out the net multiplier was 2, and the net addition was 6. 2 times 2 plus 6 equals 10. It works perfectly. We will look at the next approach in just a second, but first I want to quickly say why this channel looks and sounds the way it does. You can probably tell this is narrated by AI. I actually built this for myself so I could generate clear, instant explanations the moment a daily problem drops to help myself learn. It helps me study faster, and I upload them here in case they help you too. I don't put ads in these videos and I don't take any sponsorships. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Okay, now for the second method. The first one was great, but doing that complex inverse math every single time we look up an index can slow things down if we have a lot of lookups. This one uses a really neat trick. Instead of doing the hard work during the lookup, we do it when we append the item. We basically save a disguised version of our number. That way, lookups are completely instant. And here's the code for that second approach. Notice we don't need arrays for A and B anymore, just single variables, tracking the absolute global state. The add and multiply functions are super clean now. And look at the getIndex function at the bottom. It's just a simple math equation now. No complex inverse logic needed there. Let's quickly trace how this one works. When we add a new value, we apply the exact reverse of our global operations to it before saving it. We subtract the current B total, and we divide by the current A multiplier using our inverse function. We save this faked value. Why? Because later, when we retrieve it, the getIndex function will multiply it by A and add B. This completely cancels out the reversed operations we did at the start, meaning only the brand new operations will actually take effect. Real quick, an important edge case note. When we do these subtractions, the result can sometimes dip below 0. Python handles negative modulos beautifully, wrapping them around to a positive number. But languages like C++ and Java don't do this automatically. They will give you a negative result which ruins the math. In those languages, you have to manually add the modulo value to your result to wrap it back around safely. Let's talk about performance. Because we shifted the heavy lifting to the append phase, appending takes order log m time, where m is our large modulo number. This is because calculating that inverse takes a little bit of processing power. However, every other operation, including looking up an index, takes constant order 1 time. Our space complexity is order n, just to store the numbers in our list. Alright, that covers the Python solution. As promised, here are the full solutions for Java, C++, and JavaScript, using that second approach. Instead of pausing and typing these out, you can just go to LeetCodeUnlocked.com via the link in the description to copy and paste the exact code directly. Here is the full solution in Java. Notice in the append function, we add the modulo before taking the modulo again, exactly as we discussed to prevent negative numbers. Next up, here is the C++ version. Similar to Java, we have to carefully manage our modulo operations when subtracting B, ensuring we don't accidentally push negative numbers into our list. And finally, here is the solution in JavaScript. We have to use big int here because the numbers can get incredibly large before the modulo is applied, and standard JavaScript numbers would lose precision. So, let's wrap it up. We looked at a really cool way to avoid slow loops by tracking a global multiplier and adder. We learned that you can't just divide in modulo math, but Fermat's little theorem gives us a workaround. And finally, we saw that by saving a reversed version of our number right at the start, we can make retrieving it later lightning fast. Before we finish up, I want to mention I have another channel called LeetCode Unlocked. I'm on a mission to eventually post a solution for literally every single LeetCode problem on the platform. If you want to study problems outside of just the daily challenge, make sure to check it out. If you want to help support that goal of covering every problem, you can donate at buymeaboba.com/LeetCodeDaily. Also, please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I post the daily LeetCode problem as soon as it comes out so you can get your streak done early. Keep coding, and I'll catch you in the next one.